Sometimes when you have to switch from one editing software to another, it's always complicated to find your old tools within the newly released version. And that is certainly the case for many users who switch from Final Cut into using Adobe Premiere Pro, particularly when it comes to a specific concept in Final Cut, which is role management. And this panel in particular here, Index, which will allow you several things, which will allow you on complex edits to be able to navigate within either your current sequence or your entire project, but also to be able to define categories in terms of roles. This is especially true for titles, videos, dialogues, titles, videos, titles, etc., etc. And you'll also find in this same panel various ways to navigate or activate certain roles. For example, if I want to disable the titles, I just simply need to click here on this checkbox. On the other hand, the tool also allows you to modify roles. You can add new ones and also edit some of them. And once it's applied, well, you'll be able to directly in your timeline locate these specific user roles and be able to index your content. And then I thought to myself, if this doesn't exist in Premiere, so why not just invent it? Do you want to see? Come on, I'll show you. So I named this plugin for Premiere Pro, RoleDex Pro, as in RoleDex Pro. It's linked to a sequence. So from the moment, as soon as you open this sequence, right away, immediately after, the plugin will recognize the video content and will present you with a new screen with two clearly distinct areas. The very upper portion is actually the management and filtering area, and the lower part is simply the list of all the clips that are in your sequence. The advantage is that just like the index panel on the Final Cut, you'll be able to identify a specific clip in particular and move your playhead directly to that clip. If we look in more detail at this panel, at any time, of course, if you add additional clips, you'll be able to refresh this list. But what's interesting is that this panel will adapt not only to French, but also to English, since without leaving the interface, you'll be able to switch from English to French without having to change, in particular, the titles or the names, in any case, the roles you've set up. For example, while right now I'm displaying any type of content, I can go and filter, for example, the videos or the audio section. Right away, I'll go to the bottom of this area to also show you that depending on the item you've selected, the sections will be grayed out. I'm using an audio filter. If I switch to a video filter, then this time it's the audio tracks that will be rendered as grayed out. Furthermore, as you might expect, I can perform a search to find a specific shot, or I can search for a group of shots as well. For example, the video files from my Panasonic that specifically start with P184, and automatically all the shots are displayed below. In this list, you can also see, to describe it, not only the time code, the track on which the shot is located, but it will also show you for this last one as well, if this shot has undergone any speed changes, or possibly if it is part of a hidden track. And all these elements can also be filtered using the checkboxes that are above. If I click on slow motion, well, among the Panasonic P184 shots, only this one is identified. Only this one is identified. I can also quickly, in the list, search for the shots that are disabled. And since this editing software includes a certain amount of metadata, I can also retrieve this metadata. Currently, it will search for all the shots, regardless of the type of shot. I'm going to search for it. For example, I can search only for image shots. For example, the logo that is on track V3. I can also search for drawn vector elements. There is a frame here, and these two tracks are currently hidden. But if I reactivate tracks V3 and V2, I actually find, again, this white grid that you see at the bottom of the screen. And if your sequence also contains nested sequences, then right away, you'll be able to identify them as well. Here, there aren't any. If I create one, well, just like that, you see the list gets filtered, and I can very easily navigate my way into this particular nested sequence. Let's briefly pause on the concept of roles. For that, I'm going to open all the elements. You can see here, there's the music bin, and I would like all find elements, specifically as music roles. Further down, finding like voiceovers marks these voiceovers in particular from the music in question. For example, here is the voiceover Perrine 4. It just so happens that this music and the voiceover just below it are in this sequence. Well, this time I'll be able to select the music in question, go to the section, let's assign the roles. I'll go ahead and find a list, which is a non-exhaustive list, since at any time you'll be able to add additional roles. So if I select music, then immediately, as you can see, you'll see there's a label in front of this music. I'll also find it if I filter the various different roles of the music type. I have even considered the special case where it's every single one of the clips that you have located within a specific bin that you would like to designate for a particular role in your project. As a clear example of this, let's look at the rando bin. I'll be able to select it and then in attribute, assign it the B-roll role. So how do you know that all of this actually worked? Well, as I mentioned in the introduction, I use Premiere's metadata And it turns out that in this metadata, you have the option to add a few more additional properties. Now, if we take a look at this list, I will be able to enable this specific field, and that will allow me to come at any time and easily track the specific assignment of this particular role. Now, let's follow the exact same procedure for transport. Now, as you can see, if I filter by B-roll, I will have, in fact, all the shots that are linked to this one. And finally, if this time you want to manage the roles, everything is set up for that. You will be able to both edit the specific names of these different roles, but you can also add others, since at the very bottom, you have the field here called new role. For example, now I would like to go ahead and add a logo role. I can simply enter its specific name here. Finally, click on the add button, and from now on, it appears not only in this list, but also in the list above, assign roles. A little further down, I should have exactly what I need to be able to assign this role. If I can't find it, all right then, I can search for that item. For the logo gray, I will go ahead and select resource. I also assign these two logos to this logos role. And if in the end you notice that the term logo is not appropriate and you would like to replace it with visual, well, at that moment, you can select this title. All you need to do is just replace the old name with the new one and confirm. And automatically, you see that the role has been modified. So what do you think of this tool? Pretty cool, right?